dedicated to empowering you with information,
to make positive choices,
and be advocates for your overall well-being.
Welcome to The Health View.
Welcome to The Health View. I'm Yvonne Dunetz, and today our topic is about PEG, Public Education and the Government TV. We're going to be starting off with the City of Nashua Community Television and speaking to Jeff Peohnert, who is the manager of the city component of the station. Welcome, Jeff.
Oh, thank you very much, Yvonne.
Jeff, what is it that you do when you're managing the entire component of community television in the city of Nashua, New Hampshire?
Well, basically, my contribution is with the government channel, right? But I also make sure all the bills get paid. So that's one important thing we
From a
definitely need to
management
do.
perspective.
Yeah, but basically mine is government channel. So I have to make sure that all the meetings in the city are covered that we're supposed to. There's an ordinance that lists the different meetings and the different committees, because I mean there's so many meetings in the city we couldn't cover them all.
So what would some of the examples be of what you cover?
Board of Aldermen, Planning Board, Zoning Board, the Substandard Living Conditions Committee. There's Personnel and Administrative meetings, so there's a bunch of them. Planning and Economic Development. We've got there's a number of them. I can't.
And the purpose of showing those particular meetings is for what, from a community education point of view?
Well, so the people of Nashua know exactly what's going on in their government. Of course, every one of these meetings is public, so you can go and everything's listed on the city website as well as on our bulletin board of when these meetings are going to occur. So you can go in person, of course, always, but if you can't make it, you can watch it over cable.
So it's a form of transparency, involving
Yes.
the community into what's happening so that they can hear and see what's going on.
Absolutely.
And do other cities use the same format for the government channel?
Yes, they do. There's the Cable Act of 1984 that established this, and what it is that the cable companies have to take a certain amount of their revenue and give it to the municipality that has given them the right of way for their cables to be run throughout the community, and that money is designated to go to different channels for the community.
And does every state have this format throughout the United States, that they each have community television that's funded in this way?
Yes, because the Cable Act of '84 was a blanket act. I mean, that encompassed the entire United States.
So is that the only way that the particular government channel is funded?
There are other ways that we ourselves haven't done it, but there are other ways to fund, where you can have fundraisers, just like public broadcasting does.
And is it a form of the city budget that the public television programming that is offered through the city of Nashua is covered through that?
Yes, it's a part of the city budget, yet it's funded by the cable company, not by the city.
I see. And so are you working for the city or through the cable company?
We are working for the city. I am working for the city.
And in your management role, are you managing
sorry.
more than yourself or other people?
Yeah, I mean, I'm working with Pete and Dick for the other two channels.
Which is the Education Channel
and the
Access Nashua Channel.
Yes, and the public channel. And the public channel is funded a little differently. They're an independent contractor. So Dick Gagnon is actually an independent company that runs the public access. And Pete Johnson and myself run the education and the government channels. And we work for the city.
And you collaborate together.
And we collaborate together, yes.
And what are the things that you enjoy most about the work that you do, and how you make a difference within the city of Nashua through community television?
Number one, the production element, of course, because I've been in television for over 30 years myself. But I think it's that we really serve a purpose in the community. The transparency you spoke of. This is your government. This is what's going on. And in the schools, this is your schools. These are sports. And of course, on Dick Gagnon's side, on the public side, all kinds of programming, no matter this program, every other one that just really serves a purpose in the community to give out information and show people what's out there and what's going on.
And what are your goals?
My goals.
What do you want to achieve with the community television station and the government channel?
That allows people, especially on the government side, to participate more than they have. And I think there's you know, in this country right now, we need that more than anything. Certainly at the local level, we need it all the way through the different governments, state and, you know, federal. But it starts, everything's local.
Are you limited just to meetings that you do on the government channel, or there's other programming that you can do?
No, there are municipality happenings that go on. The mayor just gave an award ceremony for the reading club. And that was last Saturday, and so we covered that. You know, so there's anything that goes on where they have, you know, some kind of a promotional within the city, we will cover. And so it's not just the meetings, but it's the bulk of it is the meetings because they take up a lot of time. I mean, there's a lot of meetings.
Yes, and you had mentioned you have over 30 years in television. What's a little bit about your background so people can know the expertise that you bring to the city of Nashua?
Well, I started in the early 80s, you know, in doing an internship with the cable company, a store cable back then. And then I worked as a cameraman, as a director, as a producer. You know, I just, through the different positions through the years, I worked with PBS for a number of years. Then I went overseas and I taught it at the college level in Abu Dhabi.
Wow.
For almost 8 years. And then I ended up going to Saudi Arabia with our troops for 18 months.
My goodness.
And what I was doing there was training tapes of them, so it wasn't broadcast television, but it served a purpose.
So you've brought all those skills that you've had through the years of your experience to Nashua, New Hampshire, which is wonderful. I'm sure the people appreciate that.
Yeah.
So for you, are there any specific challenges that you have in community television in order to bring forth the information that you want through the government channel?
I think right now, I mean, there are some challenges in the future of cable. There's elements, you know, some things going on at the federal level that could, quote unquote, get in our way funding wise and things like that. That we're fighting. It's not a, you know, it's a bit of a question right now. And one of the things that's happening is that people are migrating over to the internet instead of being on cable television. And the Cable Act our funding comes directly from our being on cable television, not on the internet, right? But what we have done is we've made sure from the beginning that we stream. So we are on the internet ourselves, and people can get us on Roku if they've got it, or Apple TV. And the thing that's happening there is every time somebody is who's migrating over to the internet and not using cable, we do lose some money in this Cable Act. So eventually, we hope that the Cable Act would be rewritten in some way that would include, internet as far as our revenue goes as well.
So what channel do people watch through the cable? So that would be through what cable company?
It would be, okay, this
Comcast?
would be Store Cable. I'm sorry, Comcast. I said Store, but it was my first.
So Comcast Cable.
Yep,
So what channel would they watch your
16
government?
for government.
16.
99 for education,
and 96 for access.
For access.
Okay, and do you have any presence on website or anything? Are you on the city website
We're on
where
the city
people can learn
website,
more
yep.
about what you're airing and what you're doing?
Yep, and any of on the website, any of the meetings that we have broadcast before, you can find. So if you didn't see one last week or even last year, it'll be on our website. You can
And the
look it up.
website is?
That is NashuaNH.gov.
Okay, so it's on the government website.
Yes.
Perfect, so that they can learn about the programming and what you have
Yep.
to offer, and also be able to stream and
Yes,
see
absolutely.
the programs.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
My guest, Pete Johnson, is the manager of the Nashua Education TV. Pete, welcome, and tell us a little bit about the depth and breadth of the educational TV programming within the city of Nashua.
Sure. Thanks for having me, first of all. I do run the education channel, which for those who may not know is channel 99 on Comcast cable. We're also available streaming over the internet live 24/7, and we have Apple and Roku TV channel for the community television as well.
What is Roku?
Roku, that's called an over-the-top or OTT streaming service. You can buy a little Roku stick or a Roku box, and that allows you to stream television channels and other programming right into your TV if you don't have cable.
I see. And what type of programs do you have on the education channel?
First and foremost, we do live meeting coverage for the Nashua Board of Education. So we do all of their meetings and committee meetings. Secondarily, we do a lot of programming for the Nashua School District, including sports, concerts, art shows, things that are going on in the district. Obviously, with such a large number of schools, we can't get to everything. So we try to make it a priority to get to each school within a calendar year to do something that's going on there. In addition, we also work with the other educational institutions in the community, including the colleges, Nashua Library, Nashua Historical Society, any other group that's providing educational services within the city of Nashua, I also work with.
Now, do they reach out to you to let you know about programming that they would like you to cover? Or is there a collaboration and conversation that is ongoing that helps you to know what's out there to put on the television station?
I wish we knew a little bit more. Sometimes things come up and I get a message that, hey, something's going on tonight. I wish there was a little bit more.
How could they communicate better with you? What would you like to tell the audience as far as the ways that they can help you be informed about what good programming is out there to cover in the educational channel?
Well, as far as the programming that we've already done, people can get online and look at our schedule. Programs are broadcast on a number of times throughout the following week or month after we've taped a program.
On Channel 99.
On Channel 99. They are also available for called video on demand. They can watch them at any time. Most of the programming is available video on demand, and that's also available through the NashuaNH.gov website.
And if there are educational programs or opportunities that are going on in the community, how would you like them to notify you so that you can?
I'd like to be notified at least 2 weeks in advance. We often ask people to utilize the bulletin board, which is on in between programs on Channel 99, and any educational group can utilize that bulletin board.
How do they do that?
They can go online and through the city website. Once again, there's an online form that they can fill out. Once they fill that out, it is emailed to me and we put that information up on the air. But like I said, I like to have it at least 2 weeks in advance. Typically, you want to look at a month in advance. That way we can promote the program both on the bulletin board, potentially on the air by getting them in as a guest on a TV show. So the more time we have before an event, the more we can do to help them promote it, as well as maybe even broadcast it.
Best way to do that is through the city website, or do you want them to call you also or email you?
The city website is fine. They can also email its PEG program at NashuaNH.gov, which will go to both Jeff and I.
Okay.
And if it needs to go to the public access, we'll forward it on to them.
And is there a telephone number that you can also be reached at that would be helpful?
The telephone, there's a main number here, and it's 589-3130.
And your background, what led you to be part of the educational programming here in the city of Nashua?
I started out in public access in Pennsylvania. I had lived in the Nashua area during the 1970s and moved out to Pennsylvania in the late 70s and went to high school out there. And there was a local community station. It was a small community, so we only had one channel. It served the functions of being public education and government channels all in one. And that was all a community group, a 501c3 nonprofit that did that. And I got involved in high school and went out and we had black and white cameras, believe it or not, starting out, and did community festivals. And I went out and taped girls' basketball games for the high school, and had a lot of fun doing that. And it led me to college, and I got a communications degree. And when I finished that, the organization I had been volunteering for was looking for a director. And I became director and worked there over 20 years before moving to New Hampshire.
Well, Nashua's lucky to have you. And the city of Nashua itself, in its high school programming, does have community television opportunities for education, do they not?
Correct. When Nashua High School South was built, they built a television studio in the facility there. And they have a teacher and a para-educator over there that work with students from both Nashua North and South. It's a little less television broadcasting at this point. Many of the students want to make movies or YouTube videos, and so it tends to cater a little more to what the students are looking for. They do a television curriculum, I think, that lasts 2 weeks during the year, and we do see some programming that we get from them that we put on the education channel.
So are you integrating your supports with them, or do they pretty much function separately?
They pretty much function separately. On occasion, we'll work together on certain projects. I know coming up later this year, we'll be working on having debates for the local races for Board of Aldermen and Mayor. So we can't do that as an education channel per se, but we were given authority as long as it's working and helping a student project that we can do them on the channel. So we work with the folks over there to put them on, oftentimes done in their studio.
And do you collaborate with other cities in the state of New Hampshire or throughout the country related to the educational channel?
With the streaming that's going on these days, the live streaming that can be done directly over the internet, we found it to be a little bit easier process to work with some other communities. We do a lot of sports. Like last fall, we worked with Bedford, and Bedford was here in Nashua doing a game. So we would send that out to Bedford so they could play it live. And then later on in the season, we were at Goffstown, and Goffstown sent us a signal so that we could play that game in Goffstown here on the cable live. So we are working with other stations out there to try and bolster our programming.
And what are you most proud of?
Oh, wow, that's
with the
quite
education
a question.
Channel?
I'm just proud of the work that I and our videographers do for the viewer. I think we try to give them a good experience into what's going on in the educational world in Nashua. And I really pride myself on the work that we do, trying to make that look as good as possible.
And so people can watch the educational shows on Channel 99.
Correct.
And they're also streaming live.
They're also streaming and also video on demand, and we also have a YouTube page. So there's plenty of ways to get our content.
Terrific. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're now going to talk about Access Nashua, Channel 96, with Operations Manager Dick Gagnon. Welcome, Dick.
Thank you, Yvonne, for inviting me and Pete and Jeff on your very successful Health View show, in my opinion.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate all your support and assistance. Tell everybody, what is Access Nashua?
Access Nashua is Nashua's public access channel. And what it was set up, what are we going on, 8 years. It'll be beginning of 8 years in July 1st.
Of 2019.
Correct. The Mayor Lozo at the time, there was some money left over from the renovations of the building here to create the studio.
Which is located where?
We're at 11 Riverside Street.
In Nashua.
Which is in Nashua. We're behind the police station in the DPW building. And I always tell people, when you get here to the parking lot, follow the beautiful police impound lot fence and come to our doors. One of these days we'll spruce it up somehow.
But you were saying Mayor Lozo.
Yeah, Mayor Lozo decided that she was going to try a one-year test for public access because there was no public access until 2011 when she made that decision. So they opened the process to nonprofit groups to come in and operate and manage. I felt that in the request for quote that they put out, or request for proposal that they put out, there was one sentence in there that opened it up for a for-profit company, which is what I had established, Community Media Services Group, LLC. It was a couple of us that had been in the PEG access industry, and we were looking to start up public access stations in other towns and areas. So when I saw the proposal, we put in our proposal. Originally, there was four of us putting in the proposals. They whittled it down to 3 of us, and then they did second interviews. And in my opinion, the reason why we received the contract as compared to the others who had applied was that in our contract, we said since it's never had a public channel here in Nashua, that we wouldn't just open the doors for 20 hours a week. We'd open the doors, but we'd also be going out physically into the community to draw organizations, nonprofits into the studio to produce their own shows. And that, in my opinion, is what made the difference and gave us the contract.
Is the contract renewable?
It's an ongoing contract, and we're completing our 7th year now.
And what types of programs do you offer, and how do you go out into the community?
Well, what we do is by going out into the community, we're reaching out a lot to nonprofit organizations and cultural organizations, because as we all know, money is tight everywhere. Marketing money is tight as well. And what better way to market your nonprofit or your cultural organization than to come on a show on public access, okay? Because it's free, okay? If you're a resident of Nashua, or you work in Nashua, or are a member of a nonprofit here in Nashua, or even get somebody in Nashua to sponsor you, you can do your own show.
So
Okay.
how can people reach out to you if they're interested in doing that?
The best way is just to email us at accessnashua@gmail.com. That's the best way because it's now written down and I can remember it instead of just a quick phone call type thing.
And the types of programs that you offer on Channel 96.
Boy, the variety, before coming on the show, I was counting up. We've done 70 different series. Now, not 70 different shows, but 70 different series. Currently, we're doing 23 to 24 series currently active, okay? Some people will do once a week. Some will do once a month. Some will come in once or twice a month and do 2 or 3 at a time so that they're done for the month. But the variety, that's the big thing I love about this job is I don't know who's going to walk in that door or what email am I going to get from somebody that says, hey, I'd like to do a show about this, We run the gamut, of course, of, we have some religious programming that's done some in the studio and some outside in the local churches that will videotape their sermons, send us the video, and we'll put them on the air. Politics, of course, is always a big one. We have a few, probably, I'll say 4 to 5 political shows. But then what I like is to get into the, what's the word I want to say, but the hobbies, the interests that people have, okay? Because somebody, once said to me years ago, I'm interested in this, but I don't know who else would be. I says, I got to tell you, if you're interested, there's somebody else who's interested. So don't even worry about whether somebody's interested in your topic, okay? If you're interested in coming in and doing a show on genealogy, okay, that's one of the shows we have called Discovering Your Past, which is done by Dan Young. He's our very, very creative director that we have. And he does a show because that's one of many of his hobbies. We have your show, The Health View. And again, I'm always going to draw a blank when people say, what kind of shows you do.
That's okay. How often do the shows air on 96?
What I do is, after a show is recorded and we edit, and we don't edit a lot for studio shows. It's usually just trimming, maybe throwing up some graphics and stuff that they've given us afterwards. Then I like to air it. It airs for 1 week, once a day at different times, so that we can get a chance to get in front of different groups of people.
And how can the public find out about when you're airing certain things?
Our schedule is on our website, which is accessnashua.org, and you can click on our viewing schedule, and it'll show you the schedule for this week. You can advance or go backwards.
And if somebody missed a show in the time that you are airing it, do you also have it within the website that people can go down and watch other shows?
Yeah. In our video on demand, which is the middle tab you'll see on our website, on our homepage, it'll list all 70 different series that we've done. So if you want to go see an episode of The Health View on vaping, you can click on The Health View, and up pops our YouTube playlist for that particular show.
And what types of collaboration do you do within the city of Nashua as well as within the state related to this whole aspect of community television?
Again, collaborative is with the nonprofits and the cultural organizations and businesses here in Nashua. One of the things also, and it was brought up at one of our first cable committee meetings, and it was brought up by one of the aldermen, that, business people should have access to doing a show. Now, the city's franchise agreement discourages you from doing what's called a call to action, saying, as far as a business, come on down to my shop. I have this for sale for $19.95.
Right.
Okay, that's a call to action. Now, a business can come in and talk about what they have in their shop, what their experience is, why they deal with what they deal with, and so forth. They just can't do that call to action with pricing.
What about the NHCC, is it?
NHCCM, that's the New Hampshire Coalition for Community Media. And we're a member of that, as well as Nashua Community TV is also a member.
And what does that mean?
That's the organization for the PEG stations in New Hampshire, as well as independent producers, as well as nonprofit organizations who have videos that they'd like to have distributed to the PEG stations. There's approximately 35 PEG stations that are members currently, and we have approximately 25 independent producers. A lot of them, I will say, probably 9 or 10 are from Nashua, Access Nashua here. And what it does is we provide our members, we being NHCCM, provides our members with the ability to share shows between the stations, as well as across the country. We use a server called Telview Connect server. And it's used by, like I said, stations all over the country to upload their shows that they feel somebody else would have an interest in seeing and airing on their channel. You know, one of our art shows that we had done, My Studio, and she actually was picked up by the California State Penitentiary. You know, we always laugh about it, but you know, they need TV too, and
Absolutely.
why not good quality TV like that? So the NHCCM also provides workshops and seminars and membership meetings where we get together and we share, you know, what's going on, what's new, what am I having a problem with, things like that.
What are the most important things related to community television that your goals are and that you're proud of related to what you do for the city of Nashua?
Well, the first thing that I'm proud of, and it's because of the crew that I have, is the quality of our programming visually, okay? One thing about public access is we don't determine the content, okay? Now, granted, I've gone out looking for producers to do a certain type of show because I'm looking to expand on the variety of shows. But otherwise, you know, people come in or email us with their idea of a show they want to do. And it's like, you know, they ask us, you know, do you think that'd be okay? And the answer is yes. If you want to do the show, yes. So I honestly forget where I was going with that.
Your goals.
Yes. So the quality of our show, because one of the things that aggravates me the most, and I'm known in and around New Hampshire as Mr. Green Screen. Okay?
What does that mean?
Well, you can't tell right here, but we're sitting in a studio that the walls are green and the floor is green. And through our creative director, Dan Young, who's created he's created probably 90% of all our show backgrounds, we have a good, high quality looking show, a professional looking show. So whenever I travel, first thing I do in a hotel is go look for the public access channel. And 9.5 times out of 10, it's going to be the blue curtain background with the fake plant and not much else.
So you're proud of the creativity of what you've done related to the sets, the professionalism related to the background, and the quality of the production of what you provide through Access Nashua.
Correct. You know, because in today's world, you know, people are channel surfing all the time still. So, you know, if they're surfing the channel, we don't want them to say, oh, that's a public access show. We want them to get caught in the content before they realize that, oh, wow, that was produced here in Nashua, you know? So we work hard at that, and we do a good job, a real good job, in my opinion. And, you know, we've won some regional awards for some of the shows. We have our wall out there of the various awards, as well as our wall of fame, I call it. We have about 85% of the shows, show series that we've done. We have a picture of the host and a guest up on the wall. I need to get caught up on the last 15% there.
And so reaching out to the Nashua audience right now, because you reach not just Nashua, but Greater Nashua, correct, in your programming?
Well, we just reached Nashua as far as the channel on Comcast.
Okay.
The
then
channels
that's it.
all stop right at the borders.
Okay.
However, through YouTube and live streaming, which Pete and Jeff have talked about, but it's available on our website. You can watch our channel live. You know, then it opens the market up to the world.
Excellent. So the website is again?
AccessNashua.org.
And people can see the variety of programming that you have and be able to watch it during different times of the day, be able to go to the website and find out when certain programs air, and then also be able to look at the streaming of programs as well as it be on your, you mentioned the YouTube.
Yeah, the YouTube is, each producer, we set up their own YouTube channel just for the shows.
Exactly.
And that's all on our video on demand page.
So people can, if they've missed a show, not to worry, look at the variety
Right.
of programs that are out there and really watch it and learn and enjoy what Nashua has to offer.
Correct.
Well, we appreciate everything that you're doing and we thank you very much.
And thank you again for having the three of us on your show.
I'm delighted.
All righty.
Until next time.